All right, sorry, we had some technical difficulties.
No problem. You got it done. It's only 5:03, so you're good.
Yes.
All right, I want to open the Public Works meeting, and we'll begin with Highway.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Good. Continue with our mowing, airport, landfill, roadways, outposts and transfer stations. We haven't had to do a lot of mowing recently for obvious reasons. Hot mix patching of roads continues. Some storm damage and cleanups here and there, some trees every now and then. We've been painting stop bars, screening road millings from our previous shoulder reconstruction projects, addressing site distance issues, pavement backup on our newly paved roads, ditching and rock placement as well on our newly paved roads. Culvert and drainage installation continues on County Routes 5, 19, and 7. And we completed 2.6 miles of hot mix paving on County Route 9 in the towns of Ghent and Chatham. And we completed a culvert pipe relining on County Route 20 in the town of Stockport. Personnel update. One highway equipment maintenance mechanic has resigned. One part-time laborer has resigned. And we hired one part-time laborer, so we got one in and then lost another one. And resolution requests. First one's authorization to fill a vacant position of highway equipment maintenance mechanic in the highway department. Machinery.
Move it.
Thank you. I actually have somebody interested, believe it or not.
Second. Good.
Next one is authorization to create and fill the 6 seasonal labor positions in the highway department.
Hey, Tony, I don't think
Did we vote on that?
You didn't vote on it.
Well, I heard a motion, but I didn't hear a second. Do we have a second?
Colin, second.
Colin seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Authorization to create and fill 6 seasonal labor positions in the highway department at the 2022 grade starting hourly rate, which I believe now is actually $20.62.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Authorization to fill 1 vacant budgeted position of part-time labor in the highway department. That's the after-hours watchman at the grade 11A salary of $20.62.
I'll move it.
Eldridge, second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ooh.
And the last one is authorization to purchase a T66 T4 Bobcat compact track loader, steer, with a bucket, broom, and brush cutter off of the OGS contract PC 69396 from Clark Equipment Company, and that's through Robert H. Fink and Sons over in Selkirk, at a cost not to exceed $80,000. And the cost of that Bobcat off the OGS quote, it's $78,551.91. And
Hey, do you have how many horsepower is that Bobcat?
what's that?
How many horsepower is that Bobcat?
74.
Is that going to be enough power? Because from what I understand, is the new Bobcats are underpowered.
Well, we based it off of the ones we have now. So if it's an issue with the newer ones, I don't have an answer for that. Is this something with the new ones you said?
Yeah, I guess the newer Bobcats, they're not putting enough horsepower into them to run the hydrostatic pumps and the attachments.
Wow. Is that a high flow?
What's that?
Is that a high flow Bobcat or?
That I don't know. It says it's a Tier 4 V2 Bobcat engine with auxiliary hydraulics, variable flow.
Maybe you should find out, Tony, to make sure that thing's going to be sufficient. So, and is there a extended warranty? Are you considering getting with that at all or what?
See, we usually get the warranty. It's usually in the quote. I got the quote right in front of me. Performance. Yeah, 2-year, 2,000-hour warranty.
That's the base warranty?
Yes. Yep.
What is an extended cost for that, do you know?
That I don't know, but I can look into that as well.
I'd just like to know that number, just to give us an idea of where we're at.
Okay, I can look into that. I'll put it on a sticky note here.
What kind of motor is that anyway?
It's a Bobcat engine.
Right. Bobcat engine?
Yeah, V2 Bobcat engine, it says.
Okay.
And horsepower.
I don't know enough about those to be able to tell you if that's enough horsepower or not. I mean, I know Ryan and stuff, those guys are using them more, so maybe we should look into it to make sure, you know?
We can do that, absolutely. Because God knows we've run into that issue before.
Yeah.
So what would you like to, do you want to hold off on it, or do you want me to?
I would be more comfortable holding off ordering this till we get some more answers on the Bobcat or looking at a different machine.
Okay, I can do that. I'll look into that and resubmit it next month, or yes.
That
How
was,
long is it going to take to get anyway, Tony?
That I don't know. That's always the question of the day. I really don't know.
Hey, Ryan, is they always use the Bobcat motor in these, or did they use a different kind of motor? Do you know?
I've never personally owned a Bobcat. I'm just I know I work with a lot of contractors that used to own Bobcats, but they've gotten away from them because of the lack of power.
Yeah, I got a John Deere. That's why, and it's got a different motor in it, so that's why I don't really know. To tell you the truth.
Right. We have 3 Gales. So.
Yeah.
Well, I know
They've had Kubota engines, and I think mine has a Deutz engine actually.
Right. 2 of mine have Deutz, and then one has a Yanmar in the Gales.
Yeah.
our Bobcats now, we run broom. We have a post pounder. We have a milling head. We have a grapple. And we've never had any issues with any of them in terms of horsepower. But they're also older, so
right.
You know, I can compare it to what they have and then try and get more answers on the new one in the horsepower.
Do they have horsepower and torque, or just horsepower?
It's only got horsepower on the thing. It does say P67 Performance Package, which is a power Bobcat 7-pin attachment control. Again, everything looks good on paper, so.
Well, if you compare horsepower and torque, and
they don't
with
get
the hydraulics, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I'll look into it and I'll get back to it next month.
Okay.
thanks, Tony.
You're welcome. That's all I got.
All right. Any other questions for Tony tonight?
Yeah, how much? I mean, the night watchman positions.
Yes.
Now this is just watching the highway garage itself as kind of just a steward of in case of theft or anything else.
They answer the phones, which go all night long. They open the gates for all the after hours agencies that come in and get fuel. And with these positions, because there is always somebody here, even if you have an open position, it's still the same amount of budgeted money every year because they don't get overtime. The problem we run into when we're down a guy is the other ones are filling in for those open spots, and they're only allowed to work so many hours because they're part-time. And we ran into an issue a couple years ago where we were short one. We no longer have our per diem guy because that had kind of got cut back during COVID. It was one of those resolution requests that were put in right at the time COVID kind of hit, so it kind of got pushed away and we never redid it. And the per diem guy would always fill in if one of the other guys was out for whatever reason. But you're always doing the same amount of hours, so it's kind of a budget neutral position. You're putting out the same money no matter if you got 4 of them or you got 7 of them. The problem is they can only work so many hours. And the guy that worked over his hours was actually had to be offered, I don't know, some kind of partial benefits or something because he worked too many hours for part-time.
But they are of utility, even more so than just the security you're saying. So
Yeah, yep. They open the gate. We got vehicles, ambulances, fire trucks, buses that come in late, all throughout the night. And then, of course, phone call. They answer all the phone calls, all the complaints. During the winter, they're the first line of complaints for snow and ice issues. So that's why the building is manned 24/7, and of course through the weekend for the same reasons. They do perform security rounds that are documented. They have certain checkpoints that they go through throughout the night. Every hour on the hour they go, and it's kind of a security safety thing. Since we have no fire alarm system here at the building, there's certain areas they have to check regularly to make sure there's no issues with any of the vehicles that are inside, fire or something like that.
are we going to put a fire or fire suppression in with that renovation?
That I don't know.
And that was not part of that renovation.
By the way, I was just looking up on this Bobcat engine and everything. They're not using DPF in this thing. They're actually running it. It's a new motor, so I don't know.
Huh.
They say it's supposed to be pushing out more horsepower and torque, but I don't know. So check into it.
Yep, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'll do is any information I'll get, I'll forward to you ahead of time if you want, so we can already kind of review it ahead of time.
I guess it's a new motor for the emissions. They redesigned it for emissions. So, I don't know.
maybe they fixed the problem Ryan heard about too. We never know.
Yeah, I'm only going by Google. So.
Take a look into it.
Okay.
Hey, Tony,
Yes.
were you going to discuss the tree situation?
Oh, yes, I would like to do that. Glad you reminded
But do you want to do that at the end? Are you executive session at the end?
Yeah. me. You can do that.
Okay. All right.
Down the highway, we'll go on to who we doing next? Facilities. Solid waste.
Okay, projects that we're working on, our solid waste master plan, DC has acknowledged that they're almost done with the review of our document, and they should be sending out their comments in the next few weeks. The food scrap program, according to our vendor EcoRich, we should be receiving our digester in late October, early November. The program is starting to gain momentum at all the stations, and our volume is increasing. So far, we've had a really clean product. So once we get a confirmation date from the vendor, we will start working with our climate smart communities to start getting the word out, because we will be increasing the materials that we can accept. Based on the budget that we worked on for next year, we're going to make recommendations tonight to increase the following fees in our department. Most of these decisions were based on contractual obligations, operational expenses that has increased. So the areas that we're looking at increasing is our tipping fee for garbage and construction and demolition debris will be increasing from $140 a ton to $150 a ton. We'll make that effective January 1st of 2023. That gives us time to notify all of our 350 commercial accounts and the general population and get our signs up. We're also looking to increase the cost of mattresses and box springs. We're going to increase from $10 a piece to $15 a piece. That's going to take effect October 1st of this year. The brush and yard waste will increase from $25 a ton to $50 a ton. And that will also take effect October 1st of 2022. And our roll-off container prices will increase. The 10 and 20 yard will increase by $50, and our 30 and 50 yard containers will increase by $100. So we have prepared resolutions. And Kathy, you have a question?
I do. Can you explain why the brush and yard waste doubled?
Absolutely.
And why the other, like the mattress and the box springs are like $5?
Okay, I can easily explain that. Currently, mattresses and box spring is a really hard commodity for us to handle. When we're loading garbage, what happens is it gives us a lot of air and dead space. If you look at our competitors in the area, I believe Canaan B3 is charging $85 per mattress. Carmen is charging, I believe it was $60 or $65 a mattress. We don't want to go to that extreme because we all know that they'll end up on the side of the road and the highway departments will be picking them up and will be paying for them anyway. But they are, back in the day when mattresses used to be constructed, they were constructed of materials that could be recycled, such as metal, wood, and fibers. The new mattresses of today are all foam. The memory foam components, and there's very few markets for them to be recycled. We are working with Casella currently. They just purchased a mattress recycling facility. I believe it was in Connecticut. But they just took possession of that facility, so it's going to be a while until they can work out the details. But there has to be it cost us more to handle them.
That I understand. I understand that, but it went from 10 to 15.
Right.
And the brush and the yard waste doubled. So
yes. And the reason that the brush and the yard waste doubled, and that's another discussion that we can either have today or we can wait for further time. We are handling brush. We had a vendor who was taking the material. Since they're no longer able to take it, we have to grind the material. Estimates for grinding can be anywhere between $16,000 and $25,000, and we're just not generating enough revenue to offset the cost to handle the material. We're also looking at, for the expansion of the station, we're very limited here in our footprint. And coming down the pike, DEC is going to be making some suggestions and recommendations and requirements that are going to make us have to make some decisions on what part of our services we continue and those which we don't. We're going to need every square foot of this facility up here to expand programs, and based on the limited volume now that we take in. The only time that we really take material in is when there's storm damage or, when somebody's clearing property, to be perfectly honest. And, it is a cost expense for us and, we have to offset it.
Jolene, I got a question too. I'm sorry, Kathy, if you're not, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, Jim. I got to digest this. Go ahead.
All right. So Jolene happened sitting in our meeting prior to this, with budget, the budget meeting and listening to the fuel costs and all the costs that are in not only yours, but everyone's budget just skyrocketing. And we're not even talking to anybody. We're not even talking, new stuff, just all the basic stuff there. I just question, and I know this is not going to be popular, but I just question the numbers that we're even raising is high enough, like $10, like $140 to $150. Every place that I've dumped a mattress, a box spring, $10 and $15 is nothing, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just concerned, are we in line with our what the budget costs are? I with the amount of diesel fuel costs and everything, I don't think we are. I almost question that this doesn't have to go up higher personally.
Okay.
So, because that budget to kill us.
Well, I can tell you with the increase that we made with the tipping fee, we're right in line. When we originally awarded the contract, we knew over the 5-year term what we would have to increase the tipping fees to offset our cost. As for the mattresses and box springs, we can increase them. The problem is going to be that, we get a lot of calls now from residents that can't afford the $85 and $65 a ton, and we all know where they're going to end up. I'm hopeful that we can work with Casella with a recycling contract. I think that we have weighed the pieces, so we know roughly what the mattresses cost, and it is covering our cost.
And when you guys did all this with Casella and everything, have we taken into consideration, again, the price of diesel fuel and these trucks, these
Yep.
trucks? I just don't see it in line. That's just my opinion.
I would be happy, Jim, if you want to sit down one day, and we can go over those numbers and I can show you the breakdowns.
Right.
Be happy to do that.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm just trying to get that budget, in line with what
Absolutely. Yeah.
My hands up again for still. When will you have, when are you going to meet with Casella to know what they're doing?
Well, we have a contract in place for our garbage. That contract is in place until 2025.
Okay.
So the increases that we are making are in line with what we're going to be paying during that time frame to cover our cost. As for the box springs and mattresses, we were hoping by late September, October, right around the time that these prices take effect, that they will be online and we'll be able to work out an agreement with them for recycling. What the problem is up here is that we're limited in space. So they're going to have to give us a box trail or something to store that commodity, safely store so that we don't get rodents and other issues until it's cost effective for them to ship. So those are the details that we have to work out with them. And that's not to say that if we can't work out details with them and it's going to cost more, then yes, we are going to have to increase the fees for them. But we're pretty confident that this will fall in line with the cost to transport the material. Our primary purpose here in this department is, to cover our cost, not necessarily to make a lot of money, but to make sure that we're covering the cost to handle the material. Are there any other questions?
Colleen, this is Reese Nuts.
Yes.
How you doing?
Good.
I apologize for missing the budget meeting earlier, but I just have a question. We're raising the fees. Are we putting ourselves at risk of losing business? Because I know, has Greene County put in raises? Because we're considerably higher than them.
We are
And I know a lot of people use them because they're so much cheaper.
That is
now
correct.
We're going to be even higher. So I'm just wondering if we're not going to lose business over this.
That's always a risk, but we have to cover our cost. I'm confident enough that if everything keeps increasing the way it is, that you're going to see the other counties increase their fees along with the private haulers. We're getting very limited on landfill space here in New York State. We probably only have about 5 more years of landfill space available. So unless there's some other options coming down the pike, the prices are just going to keep increasing.
But they also have to truck it across the river and pay tolls and.
They have a unique situation.
No, I'm saying like a resident going across the river versus us. You got to look at that expense also for
right, and the tolls and everything,
that's
else, and your time. I mean, if you're in business, it's all about time.
Right,
time is money. So
I believe 105 a ton. Is that correct?
I believe they're 115.
Oh, 115. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions, Ron?
Yeah, back to the brush, I do think that it's a good time to have that quick conversation with this committee that I think that's something that we should get right out of altogether. It's just something that we've been trying to provide as a service, but we're trying to expand into the food waste program. I don't know that we need to continue taking brush. I know there's some people who probably rely on us, but there's a couple businesses in the county that do take brush, and I think that we should let the private people do it. But my opinion.
Who does brush? Who picks up brush in the county?
There are businesses in the county that will accept brush in addition to municipalities that have their collections. I believe you do.
Yeah, we have. That's
Kinderhook has one. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are some towns that do collect brush and 2 businesses that do collect brush.
oh boy.
Mm-hmm. So these are some of the decisions that we have to make moving forward. we have a pile out here now that we're going to have to handle. And we're trying to get an idea of how many yards of material we currently have and what the cost is going to be associated to have it ground.
Let everybody just think about this. I mean, as Jim said, as we go through these budgets this year, we're going to have to be looking at millions of dollars of cuts, and something has to give someplace. It's not everything we can continue to do. So I think that we're trying to stay in the solid waste business. We're trying to maintain our transfer stations, but as Jolene has indicated, DEC is requiring that we expand some of our things between paint care, hazard waste days, food scraps, and all of those things. And I think brush is something that people could deal with themselves, I think. But everybody think about it, and we'll chat more about it next month.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
And I have some resolutions based on this conversation we just had before the committee. The first one is authorization for the Columbia County Solid Waste Department to increase the tipping fee for solid waste and construction and demolition debris from $140 a ton to $150 due to contractual obligations and increased fuel cost, whereas the price increase will take effect on January 1st, 2023.
I thought we were just going to put these aside and think about them. Or are we moving forward with the resolutions?
I said we could think about the brush, getting out of the brush. That was what I wanted to do. But these price increases, we'd like to move through committee.
Okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you, Ron.
Now, that's just the price increases for what we do, and then even including the brush. But I'm just saying, do we stay in the brush business at all? That's another question for another day.
I'll move it.
I'll second it. I just like to maybe go over the numbers with you, Jolene, but yeah, I'll second this. I understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah, so do I.
Then motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. The next one is authorization for the Columbia County Solid Waste Department to make the following increases for the disposal of all size mattresses and box springs from $10 a piece to $15, and brush yard waste from $25 to $50 a ton with a $5 minimum, whereas the price effects will take effect on October 1st, 2022, and is needed to offset the cost for disposal.
I'll move it again.
It,
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
is this the one where we said we were going to think about the brush and the yard waste, but it's in here?
Well, that's just a fee for it. I'm talking about, do we stop taking it all together? At what point we would do away with this program, but we're not proposing that tonight. But I think it's something we've got to think about. But this is just upping the price of it to try and cover the cost of it, because we can't get rid of it the way we used to get rid of it anymore. So the costs have gone up substantially. So we're in the business. We've got it. We got to charge to get rid of it. And maybe they'll cut down on it.
Also, it's taking up a lot of room in
Stay up there. Another reason to think about it. Yep.
okay.
I think we did pass that last motion, didn't we not? Kelly, go through?
You had a motion and I didn't hear who did the second.
I believe I did.
Yeah, I think Kristen did.
Chris?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. If you can just say your name, because my screen's really limited. Just say second Kirsten or whatever, that helps. Sorry.
Kirsten.
Thank you. There you go, Ron.
Okay. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I got to sit back on this one because I think as a municipality, we are one that does pick up brush, and there is a lot out there now. So I think with this increase, and I do understand why you're doing it, it's going to put my highway department, the town's highway department, to picking up more brush, bigger piles, because right now they have a 4x6 storm, like a storm. And, I've gone by and they've got, 20x15. And I just think that that's going to increase. So I'm going to sit back on this one.
So are you abstaining or what are you doing?
Opposed. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
gotta back off on that one. Yeah. Thanks.
Kathy, just to be clear, I don't mind you being opposed to that, but are you taking your brush to the county now, or do you have another way to get rid of it?
They chip it up, and we also have a right by the highway garage. They have a big dumpster that it gets dumped into, but they just don't. They put it out on the road, and
then you guys go around and pick it up from the residents?
Yep, on Mondays.
Yeah. And do you charge for that service, or that's just part of your
No,
tax?
that's part of it. So I'm just, concerned that it's just going to be more and more.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So.
Kim does that in Kinderhook too. So.
Yeah, I know. Just like when I understand, like with the mattresses, they're going to be on the side of the road.
Right.
There's couches and chairs.
I'm happy to have conversations about these, but these are choices that we have to make going forward. What kind of services we can offer for what dollars, or do we raise taxes?
I know. Yeah, we'll talk about it, but.
All right.
Yeah,
All right, go ahead next, Jolene.
Okay, and the last one is authorization for the Columbia County Solid Waste Department to make the following increases to the roll-off container service. 10 and 20 yard containers will increase by $50, 30 and 50 will increase by $100. Whereas these prices will take effect on October 1st, 2022, and is needed to offset the rising cost of fuel.
I'll move it. Jim Guzzi.
Second. Collins.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
Do we have a magnet of any type down by the Greenport construction and demolition area?
We use it every day.
Can I recommend more than once a day?
Yes.
I brought my silage truck down there to dump off a load, and I got out and I walked the trajectory between myself and the pile. I think I pulled up 10 nails.
Yeah, I know. I've replaced 2 tires in 1 week. Yep. We will.
I know you guys are busy down there. It's incredible, but thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jolene.
Thanks,
next,
Jolene.
Ryan with facilities.
Good evening, everybody. Just a quick rundown. 325 parking lots and grounds cleaned. The grass, trees, and weeds trimmed. Couple office moves. 560 real property. We've been working in that office, painting, and we're scheduling the carpet arrive. We're just scheduling to do the install after the holiday, so we can stay on it and not have gaps in between. 401, we cleaned out the basement, cleaning the brick outside, and painting some of the windowsills.
You actually emptied out everything out of 401?
No.
No.
That's a monumental task right there.
When you said cleaned it out, I was like, whoa.
There'll be plenty of cleanouts in the future.
They stuck it all in Jolene's brush pile.
Yeah, bring it over to Jolie.
Yeah, no. We got to sneak it over there. No. Courthouse, the sculptures were installed. They actually look pretty nice over there. We had to do some wire. The courthouse, that courtroom keeps changing. So I think we got it kind of figured out now. So I got to start working in that. But we had to run a bunch of wire for the TVs for the main courtroom. Currently, right now, I'm just waiting on talking to the contractor. We're supposed to, this previous Friday, seal the employee lot, but it just wouldn't work out. So we're tentatively scheduling it for this Friday and Saturday for sealing and striping. We already had the crack fillers sealed throughout the property. So that hopefully will get done this weekend. Board of Elections, we did their early voting machine, delivered the voting machines, and that's what we're currently doing now. So after today, we'll have to pick them all back up. Let's see here. For solid waste, we replaced the transfer station gates at Livingston and Hillsdale. And then airport, hopefully we'll have the company on hand to repair the fence around in 2 weeks, around the 13th of September. So that's what we're waiting on at this point. Personnel update, 3 employees out on FMLA. They're both two are due to come back on Monday. And I got 1 employee out on workman's comp. So I'll start getting some people back. So any questions or?
No, you got no resolutions tonight?
No, I couldn't get, I had to get one in to accept the check, but I didn't have the right account numbers on it, so I'll have to do it next month.
Okay.
But I will be next month, probably. I had someone just resign. They haven't resigned yet, but they're gonna, so I'll have to put another one in to get another part-timer.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. We'll move on to engineering.
Good evening, everyone. So,
Hi, Ray.
starting off with our federal projects, County Route 18. So County Route 18, the project has started. The official road closure took place on Monday, the 22nd. And that's for the purposes of moving forward with a culvert installation. Right now, the culvert's scheduled to be delivered the week right after Labor Day. The anticipated road closure is anticipated to be roughly a month and a half while that work is being installed. County Route 7A, the notice of intent has gone out for the seeker review. So that's going out to all interested agencies, including the town of Copake, and we're starting to get those responses back. Once we move forward and the 30 days has lapsed, I'll be coming in next month with a request to have the town the county formally accept lead agency on that particular project. In the meantime, been getting feedback from some of the business owners, and I'm getting together tomorrow with the design consultants regarding the possibility if we can add a few parking spaces. So Supervisor Metler, I've already got that going in motion as far as seeing what we can do as far as some options. Bridges.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Bridges, Woodward Bridge. So that bridge structure is currently on schedule. So the structure itself has been set, and if all goes well, they should be out of there in September as far as that work. Stuyvesant Falls Bridge. I've completed the initial documentation from New York State DOT to initiate that project, and that'll also initiate the funding and allow us to start the design process this fall. And as part of that, our office has already sent out statements of qualifications to engineering consultants so we can obtain those and keep that project moving along. Under the local bridge program, Pleasant Vale Ridge, also known as the Stall Bridge. Again, that's going to be a county-funded project, and we have sent out statements of qualifications to our request for qualifications from consultants on that project as well. If all goes well, my goal is to engage an engineer to start the design process this fall, and then go out to bid by the summer of 2023.
Good.
Again, I was just voting, and as a matter of fact, I got stopped by someone asking me the status of that, whether that was going
To cut you off at the town board, people were asking about it, and I says, I got good news.
Good. Yeah.
We're not going to shut it down like the other one.
Exactly. Yep. Under other engineering activities, the Greenport transfer station. So the design was completed. I did receive a proposed change order from the contractor for that work. And so that is one of the resolutions that I'll be proposing tonight, requesting the committee move forward on that. Again, that's for the installation of a push wall. The push wall is required. It wasn't initially designed into the project, unfortunately. And I'm looking at the numbers. It came in slightly higher than I first anticipated, but it is reasonable based on the type of work that needs to be done.
Ray, overall on this project, where are we? I mean, this is going to put us over budget, but by how much? Or isn't it?
Unfortunately on this project, we were on budget with this project until this change order came in. So this change order will bring us in over budget. I do not, knock on wood, right now I do not anticipate anything further as far as any other unforeseen or any other change orders beyond this, but this change order is in the amount of $86,504.81.
So are we over that much budget?
Correct. That is the amount that we would be over on this particular project.
All right.
The 911 center, we received formal bids and RFPs from a total of 7 consultants on that particular project. So I've been reviewing those. I've also provided in my notes or an attachment to my notes as far as backup bid tabulation as well. So that way all the supervisors can take a look at what the actual bids were from the consultants. I have included looking at the construction inspection or ask them providing that potential service. However, I don't think that we'll be awarding those. Right now, I just wanted to use it for reference, if nothing else. I anticipate that I'll have that review completed and making a recommendation to bring a consultant on board during the September committee meeting. And I've also checked with Jim regarding the funding of that project as well. So there's been a new line item that's been created for that project. So that way we can initiate that in September. Airport, the new avgas facility is up and operational. The old tanks have been removed in their entirety, and it's proposed and anticipated that as long as we don't get too much rain this evening, that paving will take place tomorrow. Once that's done, then that project will be wrapped up and complete. And right now, everything on that particular project has come in on budget, so nothing new on that. In addition, we also had a inspection from New York State DOT. New York State DOT came down and conducted a safety inspection regarding the fence lines and the approaches, and I have not heard a formal response, but they did not bring anything to our attention during that meeting, so all went fairly well. Other than that, I have a few resolutions for the committee to consider. The first 2 resolutions that I have both have to do with County Route 18, that's Fish and Game Road. These are financial resolutions that the county will continue to move forward with the project and fund the project. Again, keep in mind this is a reimbursement, so therefore the county has to fund the project. And as we receive those bills from the contractor, from the consultants, we submit those into New York State DOT for reimbursement. And that usually takes about a 30-day period for that to be completed. So the 2 resolutions are, number 1, first resolution is authorizing the chairman of Columbia County Board of Supervisors to execute supplemental agreement number 2 to New York State Department of Transportation, contract D034230 between New York State DOT and Columbia County for the total project amount of $4,857,000 necessary to supplement design tasks, supplemental right-of-way acquisition or incidental tasks, right-of-way acquisition, and the construction support and inspection phase associated with the project. Keep in mind, this particular funding is 80% federal funding, 15% state funding, and only 5% of local funding.
Move it, Collins.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Kelly, so just a reminder for you, these resolutions, there's a formal resolution sample that's attached with each one of these that contains all the New York State language. So the formal resolution that's adopted by the full board has to contain that resolution language.
Okay.
Resolution number 2 that I have is supplemental agreement number 3. And this is in the amount, this is, again, similar situation. This is based on the construction costs that have come in, bringing the total project amount to $6,219,039 even. And it's an increase of the last supplemental agreement number 2. And this is based on the construction costs that actually were received. And again, similarly, the federal funding, again, is 80% federal, 15% New York State, and 5% local. And again, this allows the county to continue to move forward and fund the project and then seek reimbursement from the state.
Move it, Skoda.
Second.
Second it.
Eldridge.
Oh, okay.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Kelly, on this particular one, there are 2 parts in that resolution. I'll go back a little bit further. Up a little bit more, sorry. There we go. You actually have to refer back to the previous resolution. So whenever you come up with those final resolution numbers for the full board, for supplemental agreement number 2, whatever that board resolution is, you have to insert it into those 2 locations.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Next resolution is task order associated with the 560 Warren Street project. So this is the DMV building and the real property and treasurer's office. And this resolution has to do with the removal of the windows that are non-asbestos or lead-containing materials. So in the original budget, there was $75,000 allocated towards all of the abatement. And so last month, if you recall, we received a bid for the asbestos abatement and lead abatement contained within the windows associated with the DMV building. There are numerous windows that do not contain lead or asbestos, so therefore we didn't have to go out for a special contract. So what I'd like to do is to include it as a change order to Centrica in the amount of $18,600, and that'll bring us up to that $75,000 that was allocated for the project and included in the original budget.
Okay. I'll move it, Guzzi.
Second it, Mattler.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next one is a task order agreement. This is a change order for the push wall. As I previously identified, unfortunately, a push wall was not included in the original bid documents. One is required to allow the proper operation of the facility for the staff. So it is a change order to Mega Construction in the amount of $86,504.81.
Where are we getting this out of? Where are we going to pull this money out of?
That's coming out of the H line item that has the $3 million budgeted for the transfer station.
This is bonding, Jim, but we're under budget in some other projects in solid waste, so it'll net, I think, still positive.
Okay. All right.
50% of it gets reimbursed from DEC anyway, correct?
Well, I'm not sure that 50% of this change order does. We're not sure about that, but I'm thinking we might be on our own for this.
But we are going to be seeking it from DEC, whether they fund it or not.
Yeah,
you're absolutely correct, Jim.
Right.
Yeah, but we will be.
I know we talked about that. Yeah, that they may
The
not.
agreement was 50% of the total cost, but where we're at with that.
Need a motion or a second?
Yep.
I'll make one of them Collins.
Second Eldridge.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Opposed?
Thank you. The next two financial resolutions have to do with change orders associated with the sewer project. And in both cases, these change orders were reviewed by EFC and approved by EFC and included in the final financing and budgeting on their end. And really, it's based on there were within the contract for both the general contractor as well as the electrical contractor, there were certain line items for work or unit prices provided for work. And again, it's an adjustment based on either more or less of those various line items. So in the case of the general contractor, which is the bulk of the work, it ends up that there is a change order, which is an addition, a change order of an additional amount of $9,488.66. Most of that's contributed to rock as well as some additional paving that DOT had requested on the project that was unforeseen.
Okay.
And how did we do on that project altogether as far as?
So once we take into consideration this change order and the change order from the electrical contractor, which is actually a credit in the amount of $40,000, we're actually going to be approximately $30,000 under budget. Overall.
Okay, that's good.
So I give you at least a little good news.
Yeah, we've been getting bad news all day, so.
You need to
Guzzy.
start with that, Ray.
Yeah, I'll move it, Guzzy.
Second, Eldridge.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Again, this change order is for the electrical, and this is a credit change order in the amount of $40,125.89.
Move it, Eldridge.
Second, it goes.
Usually Ray Stats is quick on those ones.
Mhm.
All right, I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next resolution is authorizing the chairman to enter into an amendment for agreement for professional services associated with the design improvements at the Columbia County Sewer District between Columbia County and CPL for the design and overseeing the construction for the Grandinetti pump station. Again, similarly, EFC, New York State EFC has, and as well as New York State DEC, has reviewed the proposed amendment and has included this into their budgeting process as well as their long-term financing. And this is a not to exceed number because I'm going to try to work with them as far as reducing the construction phase services. EFC, it's a little more difficult, much like with the federal highway projects, because there are certain requirements as far as having men on site, having supervision on site anytime there's any construction taking place. But if I can limit the time frame of when contractors are actually working, I think I can bring some of these numbers down. So this is a not to exceed number.
I'll move it, Guzzy.
I'll second it, Mettler.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And the last one, resolution that I have is for a transfer of funds. Moving funds from the bridge construction force account to the roads project or roads line, excuse me. And this is for repair of a damaged drainage system culvert pipe that's located under County Route 26A in the town of Stuyvesant. It's to repair a 40-year-old culvert pipe that's in disrepair that actually has sinkholes on private property. And so we're actually looking to line this particular pipe. So we're proposing to use a trenchless technology because it goes under a driveway, underneath the person's front yard. It goes under a garden, as well as close proximity to an existing garage. So we don't want to open trench this. The highway department and the bridge crew are actually going to be undertaking a bridge repair for the Rossman Bridge. So we're going to have a savings on that project. So what I'm trying to do is transfer some of the funds out of the force account bridge work over to the roads to fund this repair.
We were looking at about 38. Is that the number? 38?
I'm sorry, $38,682.
Okay.
And
I'll
also,
make
this
that-
would come out of, the roads capital project that I talked to you earlier about, Jimmy, but we didn't budget any money for that last year, that $500,000 that we took out of highway. Tony
Right.
could usually use that for something like this.
Right. Guzzy, motion. I'll make the motion.
Mullen,
Guzzy.
second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Approved.
And that's all I have for engineering, unless there are any questions from the supervisors.
I have a question, Ray. Who are you going to be working with, from CPL?
I'm going to be working with Tom Carver. Tom Carver was actually the engineer that did the original design work, much of the original design work on that sewer project. So I'll be
Okay.
working with him.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if there's nothing else to come before, public works, I'll entertain a motion.
No, hold on, Ron.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Tony's still on, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Tony wanted an executive session.
Yep, I'm still here.
We need a motion to go into executive session to discuss potential litigation. I guess.
Guzzy,
Second, Eldridge.
Oswaldo, just let us know when you're ready, hon.
gotta take a vote, Ron.
just think we need a motion to have Tony take care of the problem.
Hold on, let's make sure we're good with this, Waldo. Hold on. Okay, thanks. Okay, go ahead, motion.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Tim seconded.
Okay.
Are we gonna take it out of the
ASAP.
tourism budget in case it's on a rail trail eventually?
Yeah, this could ruin your tourism.
We have a Parks Department, you know? All right, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Carry.
Use the ARP funds. You don't know what to do with all that money.
Always something good to do with it, right?
Just a point of clarification. Should the motion be more specific? I mean, if the day comes that we want to show that we took action as quickly as possible, do we maybe want to be more specific about what we're taking action about?
You're right, Gina. I think you're right. I think we should maybe just tighten that up. a little
Clarify.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, clarify.
Tighten it up and back it about 6 months.
oh,
All right. So someone wants tell me what you wanted to say.
You can say it, Jeannie. You're very good at this. I just didn't want to get into the why we were.
A motion to secure a revised quote and proceed with.
Removing all the trees that are in danger of hurting somebody.
In the area of the,
Of the property.
Should put the property, its location.
address and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an address for that, Tony?
You want me to give you
Just yeah. Tony will get that to me because you don't want to.
right,
We got out of executive session, so
Yeah, so I want to be careful.
So we're going to add that into the resolution, correct?
Mhm.
into the motion.
Into the motion, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Second on that motion?
So we already have Kathy and Tim. We're just rewording it. That's I've got it as Jean said.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
All right.
Thank you.
is that it?
I think that's it. Now do we need a motion to adjourn?
I'll do that, Kathy Eldridge.
I'll second it, Mettler.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You
Thanks,
too. Good night,
everyone.
everybody.
Night, everyone.
Thank you.